Hello, good evening, and welcome back to the Dugout Football Channel. I am back from my week's break. A big thank you to Mr. Connor Niblett from the Cop Council for taking the show last weekend. As you can see, he is not here. He is himself on a very lovely break. But we do have, we have a debutant on tonight with us. It is Mr. Finn Wade. You are very welcome to the channel. How you doing, mate?
Thank you very much for having me along tonight. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
Excellent. We've also got Mr. Jack Mack LFC. How you doing, Jack?
Not too bad, mate. Can't wait to get stuck into tonight's show. And hopefully everyone at home's even safe and well. But cheers for having me on, mate.
Absolutely. We've got the lovely Sophie as well. How you doing, Sophie?
I'm good. Glad to be back again. Another week.
Aye, absolutely. And we've also got Mr. Daniel Hughes from the Mighty Reds television. How you doing, Dan?
Hello, guys. Yeah, I'm absolutely brilliant, mate. Yeah, it was off today. It's a 4-day weekend. What's not to like? Liverpool, Chelsea tomorrow. Let's crack on.
Aye, absolutely. I'm not going to read the first comment of the video, Mr. George Kyle, because we are sick to death of hearing about it, if I'm being honest with you. But good evening, Seamus. Hello to Cian Dolan. And hello, Matthew McFadden. Bit of a slow day, let's be honest. Yeah, nothing's happened. Nothing's happened as well. But let's start with, well, it has to be said, was a very interesting Champions League group. Wasn't it? We have been drawn with Atletico Madrid. Good God. We've been also drawn with FC Porto and AC Milan, who have never been at Anfield in a competitive game as well. Finn, your reaction to that group?
It's a tricky one, really, isn't it? I mean, from the teams that we've been drawn, they've had quite good transfer seasons. I mean, I've been looking into it this afternoon, and all teams in our group have strengthened. So it's going to be a difficult one. But as I alluded to last night on Yanks at the Cop, I feel like we'll sail through with the exception of the away game at Atletico. So
interesting. Jack, it's obviously, obviously we have played, FC Porto before, but it'll be a nice reunion with Mr. Marko Grujic.
Marco, I think he'll be happy to be out there and playing football. I think the Porto fans took very kindly to his performances last season anyway. Good for him. I'll be made up. Hopefully he doesn't have a great game against us. Keep him quiet anyway. But yeah, it's an exciting group, mate. AC Milan back in, got a very young attacking side under their new manager. He's doing great. And yes, they're not the AC Milan side that we all grew up watching, the Maldinis, the Beresis and everything really, but still got a lot of talent within that squad. And Atletico Madrid, I know I was watching your stream yesterday, Doug, and everyone was a bit worried about Atletico, but I'm fully confident Liverpool play their best football. Well, there's no easy tie in Europe, as we've seen over the years of Liverpool playing, mate. But yeah, I think we should be all good to go, really. And yeah, we absolutely battered them at Anfield. Just didn't take our chances, really, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. It could have been an easier draw, yes, but we are a lot better than all those teams. Evening to Sporting Red LFC, thank you very much for tuning in. I do appreciate it as well. Kane Dolan says, our group is as rough as our Badgers are. So not looking forward to those Madrid games. Sophie, me and you have been speaking all week, and what the one team we did not want was Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid. Now we've got them. How are you feeling?
I'm all right now. Finn will tell you, like last night's podcast, I was fuming over getting Atletico Madrid, and they are going to be a tough side to beat because they play that low block, don't they? And I know we dominated the last game, but I don't know. I've still got very mixed feelings about Atletico. Since sleeping on it, like Porto still don't worry me, and AC Milan, even though they are doing a lot better, came second in Serie A. I'm not overly worried about them either. And I mean, I said it yesterday on ours. This is a group that we can easily get through if we keep our eyes focused, if we stay on the ball with it, but it is what it is, isn't it? You can't change it. But you know what? Literally, how long were we texting and being like, I do not want Atletico. I do not want Atletico. Like every day, me and Doug were like, no, we're not getting them. We won't get them. We won't draw them. And then the first team that came up was Atletico. You should have seen my face. I was like, fuck.
Yeah. If everyone actually watched the stream yesterday, I kind of cursed. It was just that moment when Owen mentioned Atletico Madrid, and I was like, oh, for God's sake. Well, it wasn't that what came out actually in my mouth, but yeah. Look, it's. I mean, obviously the games haven't been obviously decided yet, so Chris Ross says it's a tough draw, but I expect us to go through with Atletico Madrid. Yep, absolutely. AC Milan are unpredictable. Yeah, absolutely. My dad wanted to avoid AC Milan. He hasn't watched Serie A in about 15 years. Yeah, absolutely. Porto will be the whipping boys. They couldn't hit a cow's backside. Well, we shall say hello to Helen. She's saying evening to me, evening Dan, evening Jack. Take Sheriff Tiraspol out of Group D, replace them with Borussia Mönchengladbach. You have the exact same group as last year. Well, there's a new sheriff in town. Yeah, I use that so.
That was awful.
I used that so many times last night. But Dan, nice to see AC Milan back in the Champions League.
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah. I mean, I'm not really worried about them, to be honest with you. I think we'll beat them home and away. I mean, last I heard, I know they're not playing for them now. They had the likes of Fabio Barini and Suso playing for them, so I'm not worried about them. They're falling from grace. They'll be the whipping boys. We'll do them home and away. Ditto Porto, and we'll get at least 3 points against Atletico Madrid. A lot of people flapping it last night on Twitter and all that. Oh, it's a nightmare group. Listen, we're the nightmare. We're Liverpool. We'll sail through that group. Don't worry about it.
And
there's nothing.
Aye, and there's nothing like a European night at Anfield fun, eh?
No, yeah, well, would you win, aren't we, as well against Atletico? They've had the hoodoo over us a couple of times, haven't they? Knocked us out the Champions League a couple of years ago. Bit further back under the Benitez, we knocked us out the Europa League as well, didn't he? So probably due a little change of luck against them.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, Criswell says Tiraspol should change first name. Can't be European champions without beating the best. When we won number 6, we beat the champions from all the top 5 leagues, so bring it on. Yeah, I believe, if I'm being right, there's 15 Champions League between the sides in our group. Because obviously we've won it 6 times. I think Milan have won it 7? Is it 7?
7, mate, yeah.
7. And then FC Porto have won it once as well. So, yeah. And Atletico Madrid obviously haven't won it as well. As long as Adrian doesn't somehow start against Atletico.
Did anyone see that tweet that went up last night about Atletico? And someone put up, they're like, we've got Atletico. Someone put Adrian in a cage. He's not coming with us. And when I saw that, I just thought, literally, put him in a cage, put him under the stairs or something. Do not bring him anywhere near that game.
Yeah, definitely. Finn, how many points are we getting from this group?
I'd say a minimum of 12.
12.
Yeah, minimum of 12. I feel like we'll get through comfortably. The thing is, there's pros and cons. Obviously, the talent in our group is one of the strongest out of the draw. However, we've got vengeance against Atletico. We've got big vengeance against them, and we will or should have a full-strength team. Alisson was absent in the time that we got battered in the time period. So I'm just confident that we can go to these draws and show up. We've got a lot to prove from last season, especially after all the injuries, the crisis in the club, obviously. Now we're coming back, contract extensions, confidence flying high, morale flying high, going into that first away night in Europe under the lights. Should be emphatic. It should be absolutely emphatic. And us as fans are just going to be absolutely adoring that. The atmosphere and just all of it coming back again with fans. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Jack, would you prefer the Atletico games to be maybe first and maybe out of the way?
You got to play them eventually, haven't you, mate? And as Finn's alluded to, what a great European away tie it will be, back to the stadium in which we won our number 6 European trophy anyway, and Stadio Metropolitano. I think completely butchered it anyway, but yeah, it's that stadium. But yeah, it's going to be great, mate. And as Stefano's already said, it's not going to be easy. But I think if we can at least get a result, even 3 points, I think we can. It's been alluded to 12 points, but even possibly 10 points. But you know how European ties can go. It can hang in the balance, and historically, Liverpool being sound, and it's great to see. Obviously, revenge for when we played AC Milan in Athens. that final.
Yeah.
Still remember it as a kid, but it's got stories written all about it. Every single tie within that group, anyway, mate. But I'm excited, and we'll discuss the other groups in a little second. But yeah, I'm happy. It could have been a lot more worse. Like looking at it, going into it, it could have been obviously always AC Milan and obviously you know the other teams that we could have got. But I'm quite content and quite happy and confident going into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris Ross says 13 points to become lucky 13. Oh, I like that. Helen Rabel says, I have no concerns about qualifying from the group. No, I don't either. I was really hoping for Besiktas to end up in Group E because then they'd all have to start with B, but no, I can't have fun things. Oh, yeah. Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Benfica, and Besiktas. Yeah, that's a very, very good point. Let's go on to, obviously, the other groups because we're slightly going away from, obviously, LFC at the moment, but It is obviously the Champions League. Manchester City, PSG, RB Leipzig, and Club Brugge. Sophie, City not getting easy this time.
Absolutely love it. PSG are going to batter them all over the park. They are going to spank them, and it's oil against oil, isn't it? That's what it is.
El Clasico.
I think City. We were talking about it. Yeah. We were talking about it earlier, weren't we, Doug, with City are falling apart at the seams at the minute. Mm-hmm. Obviously, with the news that's come out regarding the player the last couple of days, they haven't signed a out-and-out striker. They're going to be struggling. And they're going up against a very attacking team now that have bolstered themselves with the likes of, Messi. And that's going to be a very difficult fixture.
Yeah.
I think City will crumble, as City do in the Champions League. They're not made of tougher stuff. Money can buy you a lot of things, but it can't buy you Champions League royalty, can it?
Yeah, exactly.
I think
exactly.
They're going to suffer.
Yeah, absolutely. Group F can jog on. Oh, yeah, we will get to them. Don't worry. Pigs must be flying in the sky. No easy draw for Man City. Dave, I fully echo those words. I'm not gonna say them out loud. Can't buy off the FA League 2 side. Nope. Nope, definitely not. Leipzig, no mugs either. No, absolutely not. But I think PSG probably win that group, and then I think it's a toss-up between Leipzig and Man City, and hopefully Mignolet can do a bit of magic against Man City. No, I'm only joking. That ain't going to happen anyway. But looking at the other groups, obviously, let's go into Chelsea's group. Dan, Chelsea, Juventus, Zenit, and Rangers Conquerors, Malmo. So Rangers could have been in that group. You'd probably expect Chelsea to go through that one.
Yeah, you'd expect so, wouldn't you, with Juventus? Malmo, obviously, you'd expect them to be the whipping boys of the group. But obviously they showed against Rangers, they're no absolute mugs. And who's the other one? Zenit. Zenit, yeah. Tricky, but yeah, you've got to really expect Chelsea to get through there. As I say, with them and Juventus will qualify. I was just thinking though as well, if we do play Atletico first up, it'll be a little curio, because the last European tie with a full crowd at Anfield was, of course, Atletico, and it might be the first game back with a full crowd as well.
Oh, good thinking. Yeah, I didn't actually think of that.
It might be a little curious thing that sometimes happens.
Yeah, but I think we probably fully expect Chelsea to go through that one. Okay, Finn, Manchester United's group, Villarreal, Atalanta, and Young Boys. If they don't get through this group, Ollie should stay forever.
Yeah, 100%. I'll take it all the way to the bank. But no, this one's actually, it could be closer than we think, because obviously the level that Villarreal are compared to Atalanta. So it could be competitive. I do expect United to run away with it, obviously, after today's transfer announcement.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think it's good things for Man United anyway, but we could segue into that later. But in terms of the group, I just think it's going to be a tighter group than people might actually think, what with the competitiveness between the other two. So it's all Man United's to lose, as it is, as per usual. So if Ollie's at the, I'm hoping that's the case.
I mean, Jack, we did beat Atalanta 5-0 away from home, but they came back to Anfield and actually beat us 2-0. So Man United will have to be wary of Atalanta.
Yeah, it's at the other hand as well, and they come in favourites and then they underperform like they have done in last couple of seasons of being in Champions League. A lot of expectations will be put on them with all the signings, Ollie, especially if the results aren't going their way. Villarreal, I've got the number on them. I know Man United should have won that Europa League tie, but at the end of the day, if they don't perform when they need it, and there's still a lot of quality in that Villarreal side, and Atlanta, very good, probably one of the highest scoring within Europe over the last 5 seasons, really. So, young boys, they could surprise them. You never know. They'll know themselves. They're the underdog, and you never know. Weirder things have happened, but we've watched this Man United side over the last couple of seasons. Regardless of what players they've got, they're still managed by the PE teacher, aren't they? So, sounds.
Yeah, absolutely. Wishful thinking. Wishful thinking, that one. Alberto Moreno to pocket Ronaldo. That would be a story and a half. I'm taking these Atlanta side like Villarreal in the final, so easy win, says George Curl. Villarreal to drop in the Europa League and reach Europa League final, Emery effect. Yeah, they don't really do well in the Champions League. They don't really do well. Juve are finished now the CR7. I was going, oh, yeah, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, I never thought of that. Yeah, Chelsea should get through that group pretty comfortably. But yeah, Manchester United, I think they should get through that group, but if they don't, then I think we'll all be laughing as well. As Chris Wells points out, Man United still managed by a Norwegian golem from Lord of the Rings. So we go away from the Champions League, and now we will talk about a rumour that seems to have intensified yet again. Are we going to have a late swoop in the transfer window for Brighton and Hove Albion midfielder Yves Bissouma? The talk is that we are going to offer, I think I read somewhere that we're going to offer cash plus a player. So, Sophie, if we are going to get Bissouma, who do you think the player is that we are going to ask to give to Brighton?
Honestly, I think it's Ox.
Ox.
If we're going to get rid of somebody, because it's come out today that Divock Origi's going nowhere.
Yeah, I did see that.
As not fucking surprised, and I think it would be Ox, because he's not going to get in that midfield really now. Naby's got a couple of games under his belt, and both of them were match fit, and he's still favoured Naby over it. Ox doesn't really fit that system per se anymore, and he's still winning. And we've said before, haven't we, that Ox is a very, very good player. He just doesn't fit the Liverpool way since his injury anymore. His style of play has changed, which is perfectly okay. And in a lower ranking team in the Premier League, he'll shine a lot. I think it would possibly be Ox. But I'm not overly sold on Bissouma.
No.
I've said it the whole time. I'm not. He's... no. I mean, I'm happy to be proven wrong. Very, very happy for him to come in and prove me wrong and me to fall in love with him and be like, he's the best thing since sliced bread. However, from what I've seen of him, he fouls a lot, gives away a lot of free kicks, loses possession, and just shoots for the sake of shooting, not really thinking about what he's doing. And I don't like that. But I'm happy to be proven wrong. But I don't really
I suppose we can say, Dan, that he is being managed by Graham Potter. If he did come to Liverpool, he would be managed by Jurgen Klopp, and I think he would be nurtured into a very good midfielder. Are you on the wavelength of Bissouma?
Yeah, well, I was just wondering what sources, how credible are the sources? I've seen people link, but I don't know. Is this like starting to gather a bit of momentum now? I just passed it away as being just like tabloid sort of nonsense, really. I believe the Daily Star was one of the sources for it yesterday, so I just paid it no heed. But has it picked up a bit of pace, this, or what?
There's someone called Ben Banks, who I think is a journalist, I think, that was actually saying that there's been more interest in Bissouma, and apparently Liverpool are wanting a late move. And then there was someone, Compos, I think, was another one that was being mentioned. But honestly, if I'm being honest, I don't know about you, Finn, but I just want this transfer window to be shut, because all the time that people get on Klopp's back and get on, if FSG's back of obviously, players going in and out, I just want this transfer window to be shut. If I'm being totally honest, how are you feeling about the transfer window?
The same as it has been under FSG. To be fair, I mean, we know what their kind of previous is like. They always frustrate us. They always have frustrated us. I'm just riding it out in the hope that we do get someone that has been a long-term target. I mean, if anyone did watch the presser today, it was just the usual tosh, the usual stuff that's kind of PR friendly, FSG friendly. But what I did kind of take away from it is that Klopp did say, if we have identified a long-term target that will fit into the future of this club, we will go for him. And I feel like we have identified players like that over the window. Some of them might not be flavour of the month. They might not be the Mbappes or the Vlahoviches. They might be the Jared Bowens. They might be the Yves Bissoumas that we know that are rough around the edges, that we know have come from these emerging talent teams like the Brightons that have started demonstrating amazing football of late under Graham Potter. So the thing is, I'm all for Bissouma. I've been on the Bissouma train for months and months and months. But Sophie, you're not wrong in terms of he does give away silly tackles, but that sort of stuff can be ironed out.
But how much are you willing to iron out those kinks? Because Liverpool aren't a squad anymore. Sorry to interject. They're not a squad anymore that need to go and buy the rough around the edges and polish them off. You know, how many times can you polish off a shit before you realise that it's still a shit? You know,
it's not necessary. I don't look at it like that, really.
Players who we've gone, they're just a little bit rough around the edges, but, you know, under the right management, under the right thing, they'll work really well, and it doesn't work.
But we know our model. We know our model as fans. That's what it boils down to. We know what our model's like. We're never going to go out and reach for the superstars. It's not going to happen. So we need to accept that the model is what it is, and Bissouma does fit the mold of the model. And ultimately, as Doug did mention before, Doug mentioned that it would be the manager that would kind of iron out the creases. I actually argue the fact that it's the players that surround him. I mean, look at the development of Harvey Elliott in pre-season. He's been surrounded by Mo Salah. He even said you can't even have a slice of bread. And that's the sort of stuff that I really feed off of. I love that stuff because you know that the professionals are talking to the professionals and the youngsters coming through. And Yves Bissouma is only 24. He's got a lot of French-speaking nationals in our squad that he could easily integrate with. There's Mane, Keita, Ibu. So there are French speakers. And as he's been in the country for a little while now, he must learn a little bit of English. So I do feel like that sort of target is very viable for us. It's just frustrating that nothing's developed.
Like, I'm not for 1 second saying that I'm completely against Bissouma, because if we sign him, I'll be happy, because obviously something's been seen that I just don't see, and I'm fine with that whatsoever. But personally, if I had the choice, he's not somebody that I've ever looked at and stood out and gone, oh yeah, he's a standout. Like, he's somebody I'd want in my midfield. If we hadn't got Lidogini, would we be looking at wanting him?
Yeah. Just to answer Kieran's question, no.
I know. So that was what I was laughing at when it came up.
Yeah, so I thought it said me, and then it said Wilshere, and I was like, oh, I think I'd be better.
Why don't we get Sturridge back as well? Let's get Daniel Sturridge back.
You know what? Jeez. If he could come back without the injuries, I'd have him.
Yeah, but he won't.
No, he won't.
But let's get Coutinho back and Suarez back. Let's get Sterling back while we're at it.
Let's rewrite the wrong of 2014.
Definitely no. For those asking, Liverpool making an opening move for Bissouma, I'm reliably informed isn't true. Oh, there we go then. So that's the flag for you. It's already morning in our country. Paul, good morning. Oh, hello to Alox. Interesting. I've been saying that about Dan James. Hi, Doug. I'm new to the channel. Just subbed. Thank you very much. I mean, 36 Cavani, 35 36. I'm struggling today, John. Mental health isn't good. Thoughts on Bowen? Decent player. I do question whether he's Liverpool level, but Andy Robertson, that's all needs to be said. Bowen, former Hull player.
Yeah.
Chris makes a good point. If I can jump in on that one.
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched him through the Championship. I actually quite enjoy watching the Championship and kept tabs on him while he was at Hull. He's quite enigmatic. He's a bit like a bulldog in midfield, but he's kind of also got that right. He's very, very similar to Harvey Elliott, just has a few more years under his belt. He's quite robust. He's not very injury prone at all. I think he's missed 2 or 3 games in his career due to sickness. So I feel like that's why Liverpool were surrounded with them targets. I feel like these journalists have so much time on their hands. They're like, who don't get injured? Can we link them to Liverpool? Because it's literally what fits our mold. And that's how they generate all of this kind of tabloid tosh. As Dan mentioned.
Jack, are you on the Bissouma train at all?
She's a very good player. Even when Brighton did come to Anfield over the last couple of seasons, he's been one midfielder that I've watched from an opposition team, and I'm being very impressed, especially considering Liverpool's midfield when they have played. He's very much a Jurgen Klopp midfielder. He's just turning 25 in 3 days, so he's got a lot of development and just always look towards that Andy Robinson transfer. The whole fan base was up in arms while we signing a whole left back, and then look what Jurgen Klopp's turned him into, one of the elite level. As everyone said already on the panel and everyone in the comment section below, it's not Liverpool's model to go out and spend. Yes, you can identify Alisson and Van Dijk, but Jurgen Klopp, they were integral to his plans. They were on like that high bracket in terms of. But Bissouma, if he come in, very good player, but I don't think we're going to be signing anyone. Sadly, I'd love it in an ideal world for Liverpool to announce a Fabinho, Jota style signing out of absolutely nowhere. Someone that the journos or anyone within the press have really not covered. But there's still time, but I don't think we will, mate. I think Klopp will be content with the squad he's got.
Seamus Moore's asked, I'll pass this round to all of you. Is our squad depth good enough if we don't sign anyone by next Tuesday? Sophie, what do you think about that one?
I said it before, so I'll just keep it brief. Yes, our squad depth is better than it was. Our squad depth was very thin, and we won the Champions League and the Premier League and became second in the Premier League the year before. That was with a very, very thin squad. We have now added 3 integral players. We've added Thiago, we've added Jota, and obviously we've added 4, Costas and Canate. So we've covered 4 very important areas. It's not enough to be comfortable, I'd say. But it puts us in a better position that we were in. You know, last January, we were all screaming out, crying out, sign a centre-back. Please, dear God, get a centre-back. You know, we realised that although Van Dijk is indestructible, things happen. And when he fell, it all fell like dominoes, and we all kind of went, oh my God, what the hell? I think we're in a better position than we were, and I think that this squad is going understated. People are writing Liverpool off, saying it's not good enough. Yeah. I do think the squad depth is better. It can improve more, but for right now, like the lad said, if we sign someone now before the end of the season, it's got to be someone that Liverpool have had a target on for a long time. Yeah. It won't just be a marquee signing for the sake of it. However, if we don't sign someone, again, to me, that says there's a reason. There's a reason that they don't want anybody to be signed. So if that's the way it is, then I'm happy with our squad depth. I'd prefer a bit more, but it is what it is. Yeah,
absolutely. Reading the Matip is decided not to bother coming back to the camera himself, so at least he'll never vanish, injuries aside. Yeah, I did see that. It was a complete knockback, wasn't it? It's so hard to keep decent players who are happy to sit on the bench. That's why Shaqiri left. How long is Robertson due to be back for you guys? Tomorrow, I believe.
He was on the bench last week, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was.
He was on the bench last week, wasn't he? Oh, yeah.
He was running up and down the sidelines, warming up, and I'm going, is he coming on? I was watching him running up and down the sideline with Thiago going, is he coming on now? Why is Robin down there? Why is he coming on?
George Kell actually asked a very good question. Finn, who would you like and in what position if you only get one signing?
Well, are we talking a realistic signing before the end of the window or just a fantasy signing?
I would say realistic.
All right, cool. Yves Bissouma. I've wanted him for ages. And the reason is because as much as I've loved seeing Harvey Elliott develop over the last 2 games in pre-season, he needs to be Mo's cover. He needs to be Mo's cover, plying his trade, getting it in early, following in the footsteps of his loan from Blackburn last season. He was in them danger areas and he was giving goals and assists. If Yves Bissouma comes in as a robust central midfielder, he will plug the genie gap that's left. As much as fans may want to smoke and mirrors affect it and say, we don't need it. We do need it. We need that available, robust player to free up Harvey Elliott and extra midfielders who we know we can't rely on, such as Keita, Oxlade. Thiago has injuries. Henderson's had injuries. Let's not pretend that we've not had our injuries over the last year, especially in central midfield. So if we had that robust player, that's who I'll go for.
Jack?
You know me answer, mate, and Connor's probably screaming it now. Barella, mate, I was waxing lyrical last week. I just sat there and watched him. I know it's unrealistic, but every club has his price, and the top elite clubs will be sniffing all around Inter for that player. Central midfielder, and he ticks all the boxes for Liverpool, but it's probably not a player Liverpool would identify. But for me, I'd love to sign him. And yeah, you'd probably say he's realistic. He's got the FSG profile. He's young. But for me, all day Barella. Love it. Yeah. I'd go nuts if we actually signed him.
I think I know what Sophie's answer is going to be, because I think it might be the same as me. So, Sophie, realistic position?
It's kind of realistic, kind of not realistic, but I'd still go for Newhouse.
Me too.
I have said this since the very, very beginning, before the transfer window opened. We did a thing, didn't we, where we highlighted who we'd want.
Yeah.
Him and Marlon were, I know Marlon's obviously signed somewhere else now, but they were my two players. I was like, I want him from forwards, I want him from midfielder. He is absolutely destroying league at Mönchengladbach. I want him. Do you want 50 million? Okay, give them 50 million. I just want him. He's fun. Fuck Yves Bissouma. I want no house instead.
Honestly, I'm not sure Robertson has lungs. I think he's powered by Duracell batteries. That's very true, Kian. Dan, realistic signing for you?
Yeah, I'm just a little bit surprised everyone said midfielders, because if you include Harvey Elliott there, which I now do, I think you've got about 8 midfielders, albeit some of them have had injury problems, but I think we're reasonably well stocked there. I think it's the forward positions where we have to worry a bit more, especially with the AFCON coming up. I know people say they're only going to miss 2 matches, but if we lose both their matches, it's game over, innit? Scratch the service that front line. And there's not that much there after. Obviously, we've got the 4, but if one of them gets injured, you then back to Origi or whoever. I don't know after that. Nobody really. So that'd be the one I'd be looking at. But another, don't know who, but I'd be looking at another forward.
That's the issue, isn't it, though, Dan? I know we need a forward. And if someone said to me, I'd have a midfielder or a forward, I'd agree with you. I'd go with a forward. But who out there on the market right now is going to do what Liverpool want and be happy to sit on the bench and wait their turn?
Yeah, I mean,
the thing with us, though, of last year is we pulled people out who no one's expecting. When we signed Jota last season, everyone was going like, even when we signed Mane and Salah, you look at the tweets under the official signings, everyone was laughing at them. So sometimes not expected player steps up, that's what we've been good at. But I mean, I haven't particularly got the name, but that would be the one position that I'm worried about going into this season. I think we're quite well stocked now at centre-back. We've got 4 first-choice centre-backs up here. With a couple of lads, younger lads who've got a lot of experience. Plenty of options in midfield, but then I'm looking up the top and I'm thinking, could be a problem there.
John Moore, to answer your question, we are definitely not getting Haaland. No. Have you seen what Mino Raiola was actually wanting from Chelsea? 40 million for him and 36 million a year for Haaland. Not a chance Liverpool pay that amount of money. Not a chance.
Do you know what? I don't understand genuinely why footballers have him as their agent, because he's a walk and talk and red flag, isn't he? You see him coming over and you go, I ain't doing business with him. So
I don't know.
They're kind of shooting themselves in the foot a little bit, I think. Not all the time, but I mean, I know he gets results and that's why they pick him, but
I think Mino Raiola basically guarantees the fact that you will play for a club that will always get trophies, essentially.
I don't know, something about him, like just walk and talk and red flag, and he's just the one you'd see him
as a Liverpool fan, as a Liverpool fan, but I think wider fan groups don't see it like that, because the Chelseas will pay it and the Cities, not so much the Barças and the Real Madrids now, but maybe football's evolving. Maybe football is evolving, though. That's something that people should really talk more about, is the fact that how heavily the COVID crisis has affected clubs financially. And the top 1% is just getting smaller. The divide is just growing. because obviously, as you've seen this window, the PSGs, they've looted the world's best players. They've absolutely just grabbed the bag of swag, taken it and ran. You know?
I love that saying, grab the bag of swag. I'm robbing that. I am going to use that. Rob the bag of swag.
Yeah, definitely. George Cowell says, my ideal CDM in the Prem for United would be Wilfred and Ndidi if only Leicester didn't want so much money. Yeah, I think you'd be wanting about £90 million or not. So we move away from Bissouma and we go into the Burnley game because we did win by 2. Oops, a daisy. We did win by 2-0. I've put in Harvey Elliott impressed and Alisson superb. Finn, obviously, we all know about how Burnley won against Liverpool last season at Anfield, but I thought it was a really professional performance from the Reds.
Yeah, totally agree with you. I feel like the morale in the camp is what carries us forward and it builds momentum. Having come off the back of a strong, nice Norwich win, it wasn't going to be as tricky as perhaps without fans. Actually, no. Did we have limited fans for that Burnley fixture, or was that we didn't? Did we? So no. It's just good to have because I remember there was a period where we had limited fans, wasn't there?
Just the pre-season. Norwich and Burnley were both full capacity.
Okay. So yeah, I do feel like not necessarily the fan element. The fan element was big because obviously we are Anfield, but the way I lost my point. I've just lost my point. That's all right. Basically, the momentum in the squad is basically showing now. We're playing as a unit, and it's good to have there were so many trademark moves in that game, especially the diagonal pass that led to the second goal, the positioning from Trent and Costas. Costas has been fantastic. It's priceless at the moment for us because I couldn't put a price on his head because Robertson's absence, you'd expect last season and Nico Williams to step in there and be absolute bosh. And we'd have to drop midfielders in front of that position to cover them and then risk going forward, which we all saw in the 6 run of games where we didn't win. That it was costly. So that's just one piece of the jigsaw that's actually really panned out really well for us. But the momentum for me is what I'm really enjoying at the moment. Obviously, the unity, Mane getting a goal was big for us. Jota's movement in that Burnley game was exceptional. Yeah, so many positives and trademarks sort of moves that we've wanted to be seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to put this up. I think Jota, Elliott and Costas generally have grounds to file sexual assault charges against Chris Wood and whoever else. They were thrown about like dead dog toys. Yeah, Jack, I'll come to you next. Burnley's tackling. I'm no kidding you. Ashley Barnes, 2-foot tackle on Matip, no yellow card. Jota is ploughed into the bag by Jack Cork. Not even a penalty, and it was in the box. I mean, Burnley are the equivalent of rugby league or WWE with those kind of challenges, aren't they?
Standard Burnley, mate. I've been on record explaining how deeply disappointed I get watching a Burnley side year after year. They've got limited resources and you've got to play that way at football. They're not going to play a massive expansive football coming at you. But it's typical Burnley, mate, and I think you will struggle this year. But Liverpool, we've just got to play our best. And it's the Premier League, mate, and it's football in general. If you played 5-a-side, you played 11-a-side, Sunday League, it's rough and tumble Premier League. Sadly, that's what makes football. The rough aspect. And obviously the teams where you do play nice tiki-taka brand of football or heavy metal, whatever you want to call it. But I was very impressed, mate. And Harvey Elliott, this lads, I know everyone was talking about Greenwood at Manchester United. I think Harvey Elliott's going to be big shout, but he will probably be a better player than Greenwood. And his impact at Manchester United has probably been stinted by the introduction of Ronaldo. Don't get me wrong, you're probably laying loads off him, but Elliott's, for the fact for him to come into this league game and really perform to that level just shows everything that you need to know about Harvey Elliott. And obviously come through, obviously it was a great signing from Fulham, obviously through the tribunal in terms of the money fee for him. But Harvey Elliott's going to be massively important for Liverpool this season. And hopefully he does have a similar trajectory, really, to obviously what Trent had in the first team. Still got a lot of developments. It's a lot of pressure to put on, but he's got that type of character and the confidence to really flourish. And no better manager than Jurgen Klopp in terms of developing players, is there?
Yeah, and Sophie, I think the best thing about that game was Ashley Barnes scoring, and then realised that he was giving it all to the cop, and then all of a sudden he looks at the linesman flag and he's offside, and he's like, off. I thought that was absolutely fantastic, but I have to say, some of Burnley's tackling, to be fair, Burnley did give it a good go. They gave it a good go in the first half, I thought. Second half was all about them, trying to rattle us, and they certainly did to an effect. But what impressed you about that game on Saturday?
Do you know what? I think what impressed me the most was the fact that we played like a unit. It was very cohesive. There was no set, and this is what I said after the match. There was no set standout player. Yeah. And I was talking to my friends afterwards. We were walking back, and I was like, "There's not one player who played today who disappointed me.
Nope.
Like, not one of them. I looked at and went, you didn't perform. You disappeared. You didn't do what you're meant to do. Everybody did their job, and they did their job well. Some were luckier than others. Some were more clinical than others. That, obviously Salah was unfortunate not to score, but he played a brilliant game, and it was just... It was the unity. And I think after the last the last 12 months or so, where we've seen a very disconjointed Liverpool side, we had 20 different centre-back partnerships. We had midfielders in centre-back. There was no cohesive between the team. Like, the glue that kept Liverpool together was breaking apart, wasn't it? Like, it was very difficult to see a solid structure. And this is the first time that we've seen a solid, structured Liverpool coming back full strength again, where we have got the option of players. And for me, it was just seeing our boys back together. And I think for them, they probably felt that probably more than we did as fans, because they've probably missed each other, because some of them have built 4 or 5 seasons of relationships, and they know how each other plays in and out. And they had to adapt and learn a different player's style very quickly on the drop of a hat. And it was probably very difficult for them as well. So
Yeah, definitely. I'm just going to cut across this. Darmish, breaking news. Real Madrid are pulling out of the race for Mbappe and try again in January. Very interesting. Apparently it's from Sky Cavi. Dan, one player that actually went under the radar for me, I thought was Jordan Henderson. Obviously having to play that DM role, but we have actually missed his passing. We've actually missed his driving runs from midfield, haven't we?
Oh, mate, he was brilliant. But just before we go on, I just want to say Sophie was absolutely spot on there, what she was saying about the fluidity of the play coming back. I remember last season there was a spell where it was just seemed to be, everything was just getting fed out to Trent, and it was just how open that Trent had produced something, with a cross or whatever, it was dead, it was flat. But that second goal for Mane just summed it all up, that it was fluid, it was the lovely ball out wide, the touch and pass off Elliott, first time off Trent, first time finish off Mane. That's what we've come to expect. I mean, hopefully it's going to be back now. But yeah, Henderson was brilliant, wasn't he? He was straight back into the groove, wasn't he? Like a hand in a glove. He was driving us forward. His passing was so direct and incisive. It was really, pushing forward, driving us on. He was brilliant. It was first proper game back, wasn't he? Did he play in the pre-seasons? I think he might have done.
Did he?
Osasuna?
He didn't play much, did he? He didn't have much.
He had 30 minutes, I think.
He played against Aston Villa behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Aye.
But he didn't. He didn't have much of a pre-season anyway, but he was absolutely brilliant. He was back in, as I say, like a hand in a glove, mate. He was perfect.
Dan, you went match as well, didn't you?
Last Saturday,
yes.
Anyway, did you? You will have noticed as well. Then you could hear, I was up at Anfield main stands, and I could literally hear Hendo roaring at them.
Yeah, you normally can, yeah. Not as much as you could last year when there was no crowds, but yeah, you normally can hear them chirping away, yeah.
No, but I know, but I'm saying that's what we missed, like last season.
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
There was no leadership, and all of a sudden you've got Henderson back, and I think that helped the fluidity as well, because he stood there going, and you could, at one point I actually heard him go, "Get your fucking heads together!" Like he was roaring at him, and he's not afraid to do that, and that's what a captain is meant to be. And I think he's very integral, isn't he, to us being very fluid and cohesive.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to say a massive shout out to Gunner Gossip TV, one of my biggest followers, I think, on Twitter, on even YouTube. Like, you always come to me for advice, and I love your positivity. Congratulations on 1K subscribers. I'm sure you'll get more. I'm sure you'll get more subscribers. Absolutely fantastic for you to get 1K, and thank you very much for tuning in as well. Big up yourself as well. PSG reject Real Madrid's second offer worth 170 million plus 10 million in bonuses for Kylian Mbappe, and are hoping for a third. Oh, Jesus. There has to be a point, Chris, where it gets to a point where you just cross a line, because look at 170 million plus 10 million. That's 156 million pounds. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But I suppose every player has its price as well. But
the thing is, though, Doug, how old is he? He's like 21, 22, isn't he? They're going to get
22.
Even if they keep him for 3 or 4 years, whatever, and then he wants to leave, they're going to get loads of that money back, aren't they? That's why I've never really thought of the issues with the transfer fee. It'll be with the wages and obviously the signing fees for the agents. The actual transfer fee, they'll probably get that back and more. And
this as well from George Kyle, 1 year left on his contract as well.
I think it's given how expressive he has been in the press as well, hasn't he? Like we had it with Coutinho, Sterling. When players are so openly wanting to leave a football club, contracts being absolutely diddly squat now in today's market. You can abandon them in the under 23 squad, leave them to train on their own, but it's not good to keep players at the football club. But at the end of the day, it's what would PSG wouldn't lose out, really, would they? 150 million, but that's 20 quid to them. They're absolutely minted in terms of revenue. They generated, got Messi now as well. But at the end of the day, if it was Liverpool, FSG would be all over that money. But it's Paris Saint-Germain we're talking about. They're backed by a state that they couldn't give a two hoots about 150
million. That said, though, Jack, I mean, I don't know whether it's going out the window completely, but you have got to think about FFP, so that'll balance some of that out, won't it?
It doesn't exist for the top
clubs. Or it doesn't. Nobody knows, really. But
it's difficult, mate.
It does for some teams.
Yeah.
Do you know what? If Liverpool made £170 million marquee signing for Mbappe, and then went out and paid 46 million, 45 million for Canate, and then went and paid 30 million, everyone would be going, hang on a minute, where are they getting the money? And there'd be a deep investigation into our books. They'd rip everything out in the last 60 years to find every scrap of dirt they could on us, and we get smacked with the book left, right and centre. City will start blowing 100 million on friggin' Grealish, then offer 150 million for Harry Kane, and then want to try and buy for Ronaldo for 36 million. You're thinking, hang on a minute, Pep came out to say that it's not fucking possible. So said we sold an academy player for 60 million and then suddenly found a cool 40 million elsewhere.
He's playing football manager from Pep anyway, so
just think of.
I want to know what it is.
Just think of Pep as Pinocchio. Like every lie show is because
it's just it's silly season now, isn't it, mate? Like everyone, imagine buying in this market. Like you're going into and like so and so selling this player, that player. I can understand why Liverpool are getting involved. For Christ, imagine if you're in negotiations.
Sporting Red LFC, I have absolutely not got a Scooby how they've got that money. Not a Scooby.
Spanish government, the King of Spain.
Do you mind if I just put a little question in for us guys?
Yeah.
In terms of obviously Messi and Ronaldo, they've moved this year. I mean, they're in the twilights of their careers now, and you've got Real Madrid looking at Mbappe. If they were to retire over the next 2 years, perhaps Mbappe signed a 3-year contract extension. Do you think that the value of Haaland and Mbappe would rocket after they've retired, do you think it's going to be a chase for who's left in the elite, between the elite clubs?
Yeah,
do you think
for me, I think so.
Yeah, there's no way.
I agree too, but I was just curious.
Like Mbappe and Haaland, they are the next generation of. You know, we grew up on Messi and Ronaldo. The kids now are going to grow up with Haaland and Mbappe. They are the next 2 Ballon d'Ors dominating. There's always going to be 2 greats. Historically, there's always 2 greats, and then another generation come, and so on and so on. They really are going to be. When Messi and Ronaldo do retire, they are going to step right into that place, and their value, because there's no one better than them at that point, is there? They're the best in their positions.
Exactly.
They're just going to skyrocket, and they're going. Do you know what? If Real Madrid get Mbappe for 170 million this year, and then Ronaldo and Messi retire in the next 2 years, they've got a fucking steal, because he will not be that cheap.
Exactly. That's why I asked the question, because obviously if Madrid are successful in this window, it's going to be crazy by the time Messi and Ronaldo retire. It's going to be crazy. And it could be the same for wherever Haaland goes. I mean, you look at the window now and how it's panned out. Haaland did declare that he wants to stay at Borussia for 1 more year, but you can see that they're even losing their stars now. I mean, they had to bring Daniel Marlin in because they sold Sancho. It's inevitable that he's going to have to move on. But with the way the cards have fallen this season, and in this transfer window specifically, who is the best suitor to get a Haaland?
Chelsea.
I mean, they've just spent 97 million on Lukaku. Is he a long-term project?
No. How old is Lukaku? 28, 29?
27.
He's only got. So let's think of it hypothetically. Messi and Ronaldo, give them another 2 years, then they retire. Then you've got Mbappe and Haaland who step up. Mbappe is probably going to stay out in Europe. Haaland will probably look elsewhere. I think he's the one that you're more likely to get. But I think Haaland, he'd be at Chelsea. I definitely think Chelsea just find this money where they sold their souls to get where they are. I don't see money. Money's not a problem for them. That they've always been that rich.
I think they've been quite shrewd this season. They've been shrewd. Last season it was crazy. They just threw as much money at 7 players, but this season they've. Pardon? Yeah. So they had a backlog. Yeah. But this season,
Daddy. But I think Chelsea will probably be out of the. If he's going to go to an English club, it would 100% be Chelsea, in my opinion. There's no way it would be anybody else. I just can't see him.
How do Liverpool compete? Everyone in that, we can't compete in that market. I think ideally with love, but Jurgen Klopp, and I think that's what Liverpool have always done. And it's looking for that lower bracket, looking at Haaland and Mbappe. Who would you class as like the 3rd, 4th, and 5th?
That's
youngsters?
A great question. That's a really good question.
Yeah.
That was.
You're looking. If you're Jurgen Klopp, you're looking for that 3rd, 4th, 5th player, aren't you?
Frankie de Jong came into mind when I was thinking who because we've mentioned 2 strikers, but in terms of other positions, you've got your Van Dijks who are up there for Ballon d'Or. It's just because they don't score goals. So I'm thinking, who will follow suit? Will it be your Frankie de Jongs? I know De Ligt's not had a fantastic time in Juventus, but he was projected to be one of those big guys when they hit their prime. So
Sandra, you guys on the phone to Haaland and May. Don't do it, Erling. Don't do it. Save yourself. I'm going to probably be very, very predictable, but I can see Haaland at Bayern Munich.
They've already had a sniff, haven't they? From what
I already see it. Bayern Munich are very, very good at stealing Dortmund's players. They're Lewandowski, Götze. Don't be surprised if they go for a Haaland.
Why not City? Why has no one mentioned City for Haaland? I'm surprised he never went for them this season ahead of Kane, to be honest with you.
It's very viable now the Kane deal's fallen through. It's so viable.
Yeah.
I would have thought he was the better option anyway. He's younger, he's fitter. Got it all ahead of him, hasn't he? And money's no object for them.
See that?
Did you know what makes me think Haaland may have snubbed City then? because he, like Dan said, he is very young. He's exactly what they need. They need an out-and-out striker, and he's there saying, "I pretty much want to leave Dortmund." And City haven't got him. City, who get anybody they want by throwing the money at them, and that makes me think that Haaland doesn't necessarily want City. Why else? What other reason could there be?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Sorry, I'm just enjoying my pizza. I've got pizza beside me. It's like a dominoes effect. Yeah, Bayern won't pay the money it would take. Trust me. I honestly see Bayern getting Haaland. I really do. They couldn't get Kane. Very good point.
For that comment, don't even read that comment out.
Which one?
George's comments.
You're the PSG or United?
Yeah. Just because you've got fucking Ronaldo.
Haaland's like...
You're not even on the pitch. Your feet aren't even on it. Piss off.
George, you can only have certain amount of attackers. What are you going to do? Like 10 up front and then De Gea or Henderson in goal? Like, he's got no defence. He's got no Indeed. He's got no
right back.
McFred. You've got McFred in midfield.
There's a very interesting debate going on because apparently PSG are wanting Richarlison. James wants PSG to, in his words, piss off. But Chris is like, with all due respect, James, I'm baffled by PSG wanting Richarlison. Not good enough for that level. That's like losing Michelle Keegan and waking up next to Gemma Collins.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Cavani's off next summer. Yeah, I think he will be as well. So we move from the Burnley game because we were getting a little bit off tangent there to Chelsea on Saturday, and I've said massive game. Finn, how are you feeling about Chelsea game?
Nervous, excited, all the emotions really. It changes every 10 minutes, to be honest. I mean, the more I delve into the more I go down the rabbit hole, It's been a difficult few days in the run up to the game. Let's just say that.
It has. Jack, how are you feeling?
Excited. I know I've been listening to so many great podcasts and YouTube videos and everything of Lukaku being like this. Don't get me wrong, he's a decent striker, but it's like we'll find out come the end of the season. He'll be a great striker, but when I watched him last weekend against that Arsenal defence, my little niece could have defended Lukaku a lot better in that 6-yard box. He just walked into the box and scored. He will get a lot of goals. He's got a lot of quality players around him at Chelsea Football Club. It's going to be a test, and this is why you bring in the big players like the Van Dijks, the Alissons, the Lukakus, and all of them. Really, it won't be a defining factor come the end of the season, depending on what points total everyone's on. But you want to make a statement, and what other better statement would be than Liverpool to absolutely sweep past Chelsea and go, we're in this title challenge? Because I think everyone's put Chelsea as like their favourites, haven't they, this year? And I'm like, how?
Yeah,
they got a phenomenal manager and a great side, but for me, I'm confident.
Kian, with all due respect, Glenn Whelan was at Hearts, did absolutely nothing. So no, thank you.
Missing Charlie Adam. Could do with his mate there.
Aye. Well, Charlie Adams at Dundee. That's how bad his career's gone down the pan. Sophie, how are you feeling about Chelsea?
Do you know what? I'm buzzing for it. And do you know what's getting me is everyone's going off about Lukaku. I'm going, oh my God, I'm like worrying about him. Why are people acting like our defence has never come up against Lukaku before? Why are people acting like Virgil van Dijk didn't pocket Lukaku? Why are people suddenly forgetting that happened?
Do you remember the 3-1? Do you remember the 3-1 game? The 3-1 game, the Shaqiri double. Nathaniel Klein was right back that night, and he managed to keep Lukaku at the game. Van Dijk managed to keep it.
I'm not disputing that Lukaku is a brilliant player. I watched the Arsenal game and I watched him make mincemeat of them. But it's Arsenal. No disrespect to my husband. I'm sorry, honey, but it's Arsenal. You're so fucking shite. Do you know what? I could defend better with my hands tied behind my back, my feet stuck together, and a blindfold on. Better than Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
Like they are shite. He walked it
terrible.
I don't know what he was doing. But Lukaku is a good player. He's got the pace to back up the strength. He's clinical. However, if you've got a solid back line, he's not a problem. He's only a threat if you let him be a threat. We've played him before. we've played this Chelsea team. Apart from Lukaku, this is pretty much the same Chelsea team that we played, that Thiago broke records within the first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Why are we so worried?
Yeah. I would agree. Dan, how are you feeling about Chelsea tomorrow?
100%. I can only concur with what Jack and Sophie have said there. I mean, Lukaku, listen, he's caused us problems before. I remember him scoring at Anfield for West Brom. I remember him scoring goals against us for Everton. He's a good player. He may well be the difference maker and score a goal tomorrow, but I don't know why everyone's terrified of him. He's the same Lukaku who got bounced by Man United, you know, a year, 18 months ago. He's had a year's stat pattern in Serie A. He's a good player. But as you say, as many times he's scored against us, we've shut him out. It's not like he's like some unknown force coming to the Premier League. Like for instance, if Haaland had just been signed or Ronaldo, you'd be thinking, wow, what are we in store for tomorrow? I'm fully confident we can keep him out, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's a really proper match, innit? It does give us a chance to lay down a marker early on, but as I say, it won't be decisive. Listen, whoever you play, you get 3 points. But I'm looking forward to it. Liverpool-Chelsea, good game. And it's another chance. I remember last season when we were getting ploughed by all them teams at Anfield and everything was just going from bad to worse. I remember thinking to myself, I can't wait for next season. I can't wait because it's going to be the revenge. So we got revenge on Burnley last week. Chelsea's the next step because they beat us at Anfield that last season, didn't they? Let's get the next stage, the revenge tour underway. And
Kane puts it rightly. That was Klein's last game as a Liverpool player, that Manchester United game, and we never saw him after that.
Yeah, it was strange, wasn't it? Because he seemed to come, because he did have a great game in that game, and it was like, all right, Klein's back now, and he's going to be an option. And then that was basically it. I think he might have had another game after that, like a sub or something. But yeah, pretty much that was him done. Weird.
That's mad, isn't it?
I always liked Klein as well. I thought he was a real steady Eddie, but he's just absolutely just dropped off a cliff, and he went to Palace, and I think he got released by them, as well. Or maybe not, but he didn't play much for them.
He had a lot of back injuries. He suffered with horrendous back injuries. I think he had steroid injections before games, so on and so forth. And his body couldn't hold up, unfortunately.
Fair play, then that's why. Yeah, because it was a shame.
I do like the fact that we're putting Arsenal more and more down, and then Chris has just come up with Arsenal will have enough to stay up. We would think. Sorry to Sophie's hubby, because I know he's an Arsenal fan. Hello to Roberto Comps, a Juventus fan. What's up, mate? And he has said warm up Chelsea for us. Well, we will try your best. Supposedly, Arteta has had to be dragged away from David Luiz's house, kicking and screaming, "Take me back, David! I'm sorry." Oh dear. Defensively, they're very hard to break down now with loads of clean sheets. Yeah, Chelsea, but in due respect, they've played Palace and they've played Arsenal. They haven't played Liverpool yet, and I do think
Liverpool under the lights, Doug, is a different thing, innit? 5 kick-off and that different game. So, but we'll see.
Are any of you going tomorrow?
No.
I am. Yeah, I'm back in.
Do you know what?
You're back in.
I'm back in, mate. Yeah.
But I'd made plans with me nan, and I just couldn't.
Yeah.
Like, I was sat there going, 5. So if I left at 4:30, but then I was like, I'd be rushing me day. I just couldn't do it. But no, have fun tomorrow.
Fair play, fair play.
Yeah, absolutely. So, while I drink a bit of Birra Moretti, starting 11 predictions. Finn, I'll come to you first for that one.
I feel like obviously it's a sure thing to have Alisson in goal unless anything occurs. Fingers crossed, touch wood, nothing does occur. Trent in right back. I do think that he goes with Virgil and Matip in centre back to continue building up them crucial minutes together as a centre back partnership. Now the real debate is who we go with in left back. I mean, Kostas has been emphatic. He's been in the right place at the right time, and he's had that guidance in the last 2 games from the deep-lying midfielders to keep his head in check. But I just don't think it's going to be enough. I feel like Robertson's obviously going to edge it for selection. I feel like maybe a few more games into the season and we knew where we were positioned in the table, it would have been a solid argument for Kostas. But as it's kind of our first grudge match, kind of the first match of the top 4 teams going up against each other, I feel like we really have to go for it with Robertson. He's been available. He was on the bench last week. So I feel like that's going to be all right. In terms of midfield, I'd really, really love to see Fabinho back in. But again, I don't want to rush that if needs not be. So Henderson in midfield to feature alongside Fabinho would be ideal. I do want to see Thiago, but Keita has been playing really well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tough to choose the midfield three as well. It really is tough to choose. But again, having the options available is something we might not have even had a discussion about last season. So happy headaches. Forward line, I might be a little bit controversial, but I'd really like to see Jota out on the left, Bobby through the middle, and Mo on the right-hand side. Although Manny had a great game, I feel like he's so electric that coming on in the 60th minute and kind of darting about, troubling them with fresh legs, it would be effective. I mean, you could say the same argument for Firmino coming on, kind of dropping into that deep line number 9 position and then having Jota centrally. But I don't know. I feel like it would come to fruition if we had the 3 that I've chosen. But again, open to interpretation.
Interesting. So you'd have Jota, Bobby and Salah. Very interesting. Jack, what's your team?
Yeah, go with Ali in goal, Trent right back, the 2 centre backs, Matip and Van Dijk anyway. Andy Robbo, I think I've got a feeling, listen to Jurgen's comments today, I think he will throw Andy Robbo in. That, as good as Costas has been, phenomenal, as we've already spoken on tonight's show from everyone. If he did play, I think he'll do a great job, but I think how much the intensity of the game, I think dropping Andy Robbo, I don't think he was on the bench last weekend, so I think he is back more or less fully fit now. So put Andy in, Fabinho if he is available, Henderson, and then possibly Naby Keita, because the midfield has to be spot on come tomorrow afternoon, because it's going to be that the game will be won in the heart of midfield. Stopping Jorginho, you need to get men round him. Kante, we know how good Kante is, so you need legs. And I think for me personally, bringing off Milner off the bench, especially if it isn't going right, it's a great option. I'd rather have that to come off the bench than start him and then bringing on Naby. That's for me personally, but I'd go with Jota up front and then Mane and then obviously Salah on the right. So yeah, but it's the beauty as the lads have mentioned and Sophie as well tonight. You've got the options to come off the bench. But the fact that I'd love some games, as we've already spoken about over the last couple of weeks, we could start all 4, but that's if we want to go all gun ho. But whoever does play, I think Jota for me. But if Bobby did come on, he'll probably bang in an hat-trick. I'd love that.
Sophie?
So yeah, Alisson, Trent, Matip, Van Dijk, Robbo. As much as I think Tsimikas has been phenomenal, I think against Chelsea, I said this before, Tsimikas is not figured out yet, but he's very scrappy.
Yeah.
And I don't think this game calls for a scrappy play. Like against Burnley and Norwich, you can do with a scrappy left back who's going to fight for the ball the way he has done. But I think we need to be very, very clinical, very tight on that back line. I think Robbo, if he was on the bench last week, he was warming up, he's fit, he's ready, put him right back in for this game, especially because Chelsea. They are the favourites to win it. I think, it needs to be Robbo for me. Midfield, probably going to surprise you. Connor will be absolutely loving it. I've gone for Hendo, Fab, and Naby Keita. And the reason I've gone for Naby over Thiago is because I think if you put Thiago in there, with Hendo being a more holding, like box-to-box midfielder, Fabinho obviously being our defensive midfielder, and then having Thiago, there's not that pace, especially as the lads have just said, with Kante and all that. There's the legs aren't there, the running, the spatial awareness isn't there, especially with the front 3 that I've picked, because I've gone for Jota, Mane and Salah. I've gone for Jota over Bobby because Jota, like I've said before, he's clinical as hell and he will cut through them like a knife through butter. And I think if we're going very attacking in that front 3, because Bobby's obviously more cam roll, isn't he, than he is an out-and-out striker. I think if we're going for them 3, you need to have someone who feeds them better, who can keep up with the pace. I get what Finn was saying about dropping Mane and putting Bobby on, but I think with your midfield that you've gone for, plus then having Bobby and Jota and Salah, it's too defensive. it's too protective. It's too behind the ball for my liking. Chelsea aren't a team that are going to sit back. They're going to run at us, and we need to run back at them. Like it's going to be a high press, high intensity game.
Yeah, I mean they use the width very similarly to us, don't they? As well, they kind of use that width. And
I think if you're putting Bobby in, technically, when you look at it on paper, the only attacking players you've got then are Jota and Mane.
Myself.
And then the rest is pretty much.
So I picked Mo and Jota, and then obviously you'd have the wing players as well, and then you'd have
Bobby. But they're part and parcel. They're part of the thing, aren't they? Like their job is not only attack, their job is to defend as well. So I don't really count them in that. I'm talking more about feeding from midfield, because we saw last season we banged everything off the wings. So far this season, I know it's only 2 games in, but even in pre-season, you've seen things being fed through the midfield a lot more, through the likes of Harvey Elliott and through the likes of Naby Keita, which has made a massive difference to the boys. It's given them a different directionality. It's too defensive for me the other way around. I mean, I might be wrong. You might want to go for the more defensive, like hold them off, see what happens. I just think we need a very strong defensive line that is very defensive. We need a strong attacking line, and we need a balanced midfield. And for me, I think if you put Thiago in, it's too defensive. It airs on the wrong side of balance to me.
Yeah, I think Henderson will have a big game as well, won't he? Everyone, he's got to stop, as Finn has said anyway, in terms of Chelsea playing through the width. Everyone watched Reece James last week. I know it's Arsenal. Joe, you guys?
Yeah.
Sounds. There's like 3.
No,
he was saying to Keir how many City's going to score.
Oh,
yeah,
no, Neil Sorry, I thought
5.
I thought Doug was putting the figures up to me there slightly. I was like, oh.
No, wouldn't do that.
Just a quick one on Daniel James. I think if we can shut them down, I think taking away his width, and the midfielders need to really.
Reece James, you mean?
Yeah, Dan James, the Man United guy.
Yeah, one of the. Yeah, he's shocking anyway. That fella.
Yeah, George Kyle in the comments is not the best Dan James fan. I'll just be say so. I think you'll probably have.
Everyone at home's being like, "What are you saying?"
What are you saying? There you go. Don't talk about Dan James.
I always do that with my mates. Everyone in the group chat, everyone's like, "What?" When we're calling about who's the best right backs in the league, and going, "Dan James." I'm like, "Shit."
That is very, very funny. Dan, what's your starting 11 tomorrow?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty much the same as Sophie. I think obviously, Alisson, Trent, Matip and Van Dijk. I am a little slightly bit worried about Van Dijk, because I think the whole thing was like we wasn't going to play him, wasn't we, and try and build him up, and basically he's going to be straight back in with three starts out of 3, isn't he? But I think he will have to go with him. Obviously the slightly difficult choice is obviously Robertson and Tsimikas, but I think, as everyone's alluded to, he's going to go with Robertson. I feel really sorry for Tsimikas, and I think if it wasn't such a massive game as Chelsea, if it was a lesser light, I think he'd get the start. Tsimikas. Midfield, Henderson. I think Fabinho will be back. He's been in training, hasn't he? So normally if they're in training, he's available. I think he'll play, and I think he'll stick with Keita. While Keita's fit, I said it last week before the Burnley game, while he's fit, you may as well play him, because it won't last. So let's get as many appearances as we can out of him while we can. And then up top, I don't think I personally wouldn't change it. It's Jota or Firmino for me, and it's going to have to be Jota. He scored 2 in 2, and not only has he scored 2, he scored the opening goal in both games, which people traditionally say is the toughest one to get. So I don't think you can change that for me.
Well, Sophie, Dan and Jack, I'm on the same wavelength as everybody else. Alisson, Alexander-Arnold, Matip, Van Dijk, Robertson, Fabinho, Keita, Henderson, Finn, Mane, Salah and Jota. And then you've got Kelleher, Gomez, Kanate, Tsimikas, Ox, Thiago, Firmino, Minamino and Elliott on the bench as well. I actually think we've got real strength and depth on that bench as well, which is the main thing.
Did you come on and score the winner, boys?
Oh, fuck off.
Was it someone? I don't know about this, but someone said that Origi wasn't on the bench last week, but we had 2 goalkeepers on the bench. Is that true?
Correct. Yeah, that's correct.
It's insane, isn't it? That's mad. Was he injured?
No.
No, he's just fallen down the pecking order. He's just fallen down the pecking order.
That's mad, that, isn't it?
He's staying at Liverpool over the summer. He's staying because he's doing really well in training. And my first thought was, great, he's doing great in training. But you know, when he comes on the pitch and he does fuck all, that's the problem we're having. He doesn't do anything. He offers.
I know. What's more, I find mad about that though, and I know like people like him, people don't like him, whatever. Klopp's always like the master of sort of motivating, trying to keep the team spirit there, and just completely omitting them from the bench and putting 2 keepers. It's just like I don't really know what to make about that, especially for the player who has, of course, contributed some massive moments in the Klopp era. You know what I mean?
Do you think that comes in because of the rumours, wasn't there, that he had actually rejected 2 offers?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking now. Maybe it's like, because he's turned down a move or whatever, Klopp's just bounced them like out the squad. But to not have him on the bench and have 2 keepers, it's unheard of, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, so I'm going to ask you all this tough game to predict, but Finn, what is your prediction for tomorrow?
1-0 Liverpool.
Ooh, 1-0.
It's going to be tight. I think it's going to be tight. I think both keepers are decent. I feel like both defences are decent. Obviously, it's going to be a big, heavy, physical game. But I do think it's going to be a stalemate for the majority of the game, and I feel like it is going to be a goal from the 60th minute onwards when it does open up.
I love that. I'll show you the picture of the sad puppy. that would work. That would really motivate me if you showed me a picture of a sad puppy. Like, I'm not going to lie.
Jack, what's your prediction for the game?
3-1. I think the crowd will play a massive impact, like it has already this season. As Dan alluded to, under the lights at Anfield. Hopefully, it'll depend on. It might be dark anyway in terms of lighting, but I'd like to be on. But yeah, 3-1. Confidence. Trent to bang in another free kick, and then we get all 3 points. So sounds. Fingers crossed.
So, Sophie, you're going for a hat trick of right predictions. I hope I haven't jinxed this. What are you going for?
I just said it.
Last season, I didn't do predictions because I got them always wrong. They always went the opposite way. And this year, ever since the United game, I have got them right. And now you've jinxed me, so cheers for that, Doug. But I'm going for 2-1.
2-1.
I'm going for 2-1 FC.
Yeah, okay, Dan?
I'm agreeing with Finn. I'm going to go for 1-0. I think it's going to be tight, and I think we're going to get a second half pen. Salah, bang them in.
I'm going 2-0. I'm actually confident of getting all 3 points in this game. I think it's going to all depend on. I think there's going to be more battles on the pitch this time. I think you'll have Lukaku against Van Dijk. I think the midfield battle will be key as well. If it's Alonso, if it's Chilwell, they're not the best defensively. I think Trent can get at them. Yes, people can say Trent isn't the best defensively, but then again, Reece James isn't the best attacking. I would say. Where Trent has got attack. He can defend as well, but if Marcos Alonso plays left back, then you can just get out of here.
Speaking to Josh last night, mate, Chelsea fans don't like him at all.
He does not like him. He does not like Marcos Alonso.
Has he been playing left back? Has he? Haven't really followed.
He has, yeah.
He has been at left back.
He has been, but Arsenal didn't really put a glove on him. And I just feel
Arsenal, come on.
Aye, exactly. And I don't think their back three is the best either, the quickest either. Like Rudiger's slow as anything. Christensen's very, very slow as well. And yes, I know people are saying Reece James did get a goal and assist against Arsenal. Yeah, I know that, but it's Arsenal.
Yeah, it's like Arsenal, like the remember they said when Liverpool win the league, it's going to be the asterisk league. Every result, it's like you need an asterisk, don't you, for Arsenal now?
Yeah.
They've got Ramsdale in goal, so they're getting relegated.
Yeah.
It's fast.
You know what? Just going off that quickly, that was absolutely hilarious watching that game the other day with Keith, because he was like, "Oh, we've got Ramsdale in goal," and then obviously Ramsdale was shite, and Keith was like, he literally was bigging him up, being like, "Oh yeah, Ramsdale," and then went, "Sell him."
The mistake they made, Arsenal was selling Martinez, wasn't he? Martinez was playing out of his skin. Had a really good season for Villa.
Massively.
Leno was awful last season.
Yeah, Martinez Martinez was definitely the goalkeeper for Arsenal last season. So that's our prediction for the game. Anyone has any last minute questions? We will be on with you guys for another 5 minutes, and then we will be away as well. But yeah, Chelsea against Liverpool is a big game as well. Chris Welsh has said, I think Reece James not great defensively, but in my opinion, but good attacking wise. Yeah, Arsenal have spent 130 million on trash. Yeah. You turn an American there, George. Trash. I think you were maybe saying rubbish, or the good Scottish word, shite.
I've got a question.
Yes. Yeah.
Who do you think's going to get carded first tomorrow?
Thiago Silva if he plays.
That was mine.
I would probably pick Robbo.
Yeah, I was going to say Fabinho or Robbo. Just for 5 seconds.
Fabinho as well, yeah.
I'd take Fabinho getting yellow cards if he like piggybacks, like barrel rolls someone over him, like
just be the most Fabinho thing going.
If he destroyed Lukaku in the first 10 minutes, I'd love to see that.
Can we have a Virgil van Dijk Fabinho? Remember when they did it? Was it Dan James? He did it to in the United game. When they both
yeah.
Can we have a repeat of that? Because that would be wonderful.
There's not many people taller than Lukaku. How tall is Lukaku? About 6'2", 6'3". I think Van Dijk. Yeah, but even if we need to sub on Canate, we've got him to deal with him. So we start.
Someone hit Lukaku. Sure, you can, please.
I think he's talking about Street Fighter 2.
Oh, I never played that. So I wouldn't have a
that's what they
faintest
say when
clue.
they shoot the fireballs. Shuriken.
I believe so.
What's wrong with that?
Anyone know they were getting the new Annie Road?
Yes.
Yeah, it's bought and paid for by the...
It's already getting built.
Yeah, Redbird Investment.
Was it?
Yeah.
There's no access to it. You have to go, like, if you come at Anfield from the wrong direction, you can't cut through. You
gotta go right round them.
Yeah, the pictures looking at, you'll have to have a look when we finish, mate. There's been quite a few pictures of the building site.
Didn't they start?
Yeah, definitely.
Early June.
They started a little while ago now.
Lukaku would have been 6'6" or 6'7", but some of the height went to his stomach at first. Well, to be fair, this is a thinner Lukaku, I would say. This is a very thinner Lukaku.
Even Luke Shaw aren't on the same diet now at Man United, so it's mad how that's how much sports science has got in terms of players. Like it was like a small little section of his diet, and that Inter Milan just analysed. They sat down and before they signed him and said, right, eradicate that in his diet, and then it's Can't have Mackies every weekend.
See that piece of bread there? You can't have that no more.
Yeah. Absolutely. Final predictions from everyone on whether you will sign anyone, and if so, who. I'm going to say maybe, and probably the one person I think is Bissouma. I think that's it.
Yeah, I don't think we are.
I don't think
I'm going to say no, and I'll just log off Twitter for a few days on transfer deadline days. I can't be bothered with it.
It's worth keeping an eye on if anyone gets dropped over the weekend, though. So just keep in mind the Bissoumas, the Jared Bowens. If any of these players don't feature over the weekend, it's worth noting because I do think that there might be a bit of movement, and not necessarily for our club, but just any clubs that drop a key player from their lineup this weekend. You know it's going to be pretty much a dead cert. So that's what I'll be looking out for.
Michael Edwards has flown out to my gaff to discuss signing me. I think we'll sign a new outfit for the Liverpool mascot. Jesus Christ, Chris.
You know what? I don't know who's worse, Chris or Kean tonight. Jesus Christ.
Both been on the ale, haven't they?
I know, yeah.
Supposedly I'm worth 13 quid in a pack of Chewits.
That's a bit too much, that lad, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. But guys, it's been another fantastic episode of the Friday LFC Focus Podcast. Obviously, we do know that the international break is next week, which we all have to hate. But The good thing for us is that the Brazilian lads and I think Mo Salah are not playing into any international football, so that's a big plus as well. But thank you to everyone who has watched tonight. A big thank you to my panel. Big up to Finn Wade on his first appearance on the channel.
Chris Martin. I'm looking at his little screen. I'm thinking, it's Chris Martin.
You know, I've had it so many times. I've had Chris Martin a lot. You know, it's so strange.
Mate. Because I don't. Because you just on like a little screen on my phone. I'm just thinking,
I've had Chris Martin. I've had Damon Albarn. I've had Chris Martin.
Nah, definitely more. I reckon you would have got Damon Albarn in the 90s.
That's a name. That's a name.
In the 90s maybe, but nah.
I'm a big indie head as well, so it's
Yeah, good on you.
I like that one. I like that one. It makes me feel special when people say that, so I appreciate that.
But no, I did actually want to say that I did think about Chris Martin there. But you are more than welcome to come back as well. Hope you've enjoyed yourself.
I will take you up on it. I will most certainly take you up on it, mate. So yeah.
When you're in, you're in.
Yes.
Oh, here we go.
You're in. I'll have that t-shirt on, and Sophie will have the other one on.
Am I Mickey Flanagan? Am I out? Oh,
out.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch Teletubbies with my niece than watch International Break. Yeah, absolutely. George Cal thinks you look like Pete Davidson.
Cool, that's a I'm not sure how much I like that one.
Great stream, everyone. Thank you.
Don't be asking what I look like. Probably Gollum, but yeah.
No, you definitely don't look like you definitely don't look like that. Jack, thank you very much as always. What have you got coming up in your channel?
I'm going to be going to the boss night tomorrow, so I might go to Jamie Webster one. But Dan, I've got a spare ticket if you want to come, Dan, or anyone.
Mate, I only get let out once a year or once or twice a year on my birthday, mate. When you've got kids and that just doesn't happen.
I don't have children. I haven't reproduced spawn yet. I'll go.
Yeah, let's hope so.
You can do so if you want.
Soph, thank you very much as always. Obviously, I will be with you on I think it's Sunday, 7 o'clock. Is that right? Yep, looking forward to that. So I will be looking forward to that. Dan, thank you very much as always.
No problem, mate. I'll see you next week. Are we doing it next week? I know you said it's international break. Are we back on next week?
Do you know, I've been to and froing, but then again, we could discuss the Chelsea game, and we could probably discuss
the whole transfer window.
If you want to do it, mate, I'm available anyway. If you want to be on next week,
we'll do a match week 3 review. We'll just review all of match week 3.
Yeah.
That's a good idea, actually. That's a very good idea. Hopefully,
I'm just thinking while I'm in, I want to stay in.
Do you know what? We're the only ones who are when you're in. Everybody else has been out.
No, I think when I went an oldie, I missed one. You know, did you have one when I was an oldie?
The only one then who's when you're in.
Yeah.
You've only got.
But guys, thank you. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next week. Take care. Bye bye for now. Never walk alone. Cheers.